Chris Dawes alongside me. Just a bit of an issue there with the internet, so apologies everybody. We've been having them all night, and typically it's my internet being a pain in my backside. So fingers crossed it can remain stable for the rest of it. You know what the internet can be like. Hopefully you guys can all join us and see what's going on. Like I say, really sorry about that one. Let's have a look. So, Chris, you back with us, mate?
I am indeed, yep. I am back.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Locked and reloaded.
The guys are just out in practice at the moment then around the Charlotte Roval. Very demanding track for these cars. And we'll actually go on board for a lap with Alistair Topley just to show you how mad this circuit is. And it's all about momentum here and not hitting those shiny walls.
I mean, it just looks incredible. Even when you look at the circuit map, I mean, this is a different gravy altogether, isn't it? I mean, it confusing as well, because you look at it and it is the oval and it goes into the middle, and just some very tight. I think they're a little bit nervy, aren't they, about the chicanes, and they've sort of been read the riot act about these, and if you're going to go barreling into someone, to just straight line them basically instead.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. You have to be so careful with it, but it's a bit of hesitation no matter what in these cars. They can be so scary, but I just think that the talent that we've got in this field tonight will do a really good job around here. So it's going to be exciting to see. Again, everybody that is jumping in the stream at the moment, apologies for the issues there. The internet dropped out. Fortunately, at the sort of moment where it means that we've split the stream into 2 events on YouTube for you. So there you go. It's sort of done you a favour a little bit. Guys just out at the moment, then Brian Crowell's currently fastest. And I tell you what, out of all liveries to be quick round here as well, that's probably the most appropriate one based on the amount of tarmac around this track that has the stars and stripes all over it.
Yeah, it does stand out quite beautifully, doesn't it, there? And he's done a fabulous job on the livery of that one as well. Shaking his rear end there and just making contact. It might not be fully on the oval, but they're still doing it as close to the wall as they can, and that looks like he almost more appropriate there as he went across what looked like the stars and stripes on the tarmac there, and round he comes. That does look absolutely glorious there. Look at that nice close up. In fact, it's got the eagle on the back as well, hasn't it? How amazing is that livery?
Properly American livery from Brian Crowell's. Here's Ben Kreener just coming around the final. And it's always good to see these bits of kit in it around banked ovals. It just looks amazing.
And this is just an absolute treat when you think about it, isn't it? Is that we're seeing these bits of kit on the banked oval, as you say, but with all the other bits and pieces on the infield thrown in as well. I mean, it's just an absolute treat, really, isn't it? I'm putting this on my bucket list now to go and see for real, because it is, as they say, is that bounces over those curbs. That's giving me a backache just watching that. But it's the NASCAR do actually race on this Charlotte Roval, don't they? And just looks amazing.
One of the best things about it, one thing that I really love, and we'll just go on board with Aaron Smith here as we go through. When you go around turn 1 that he's just about to come into now, on the right-hand side, just over the little concrete wall to the other side, is actually the corner as they go onto the oval. So just over the right on that wall is there you go, there's a car coming the other way as well. Perfect timing. As Aaron lights it up, and that's that, and it's in the wall. But yeah, they genuinely have just a tiny little wall like that. And, well, there's James Harvey lighting it up.
Hold it, no.
FRA Scar saying in the chat, you have not fibre in the UK.
Word.
I do have fibre in the UK, my friend, and that's what I've got, and it's an absolute nightmare, as you can see. So what I'm going to do soon is get, what are they called? I can't remember the name of them now. Powerline adapters, so I can get the Ethernet through the entire house with no problem. And these guys are having real trouble around here, aren't they?
Yeah, this is a different gravy for them now, isn't it, all of a sudden? And presumably they're going to be sort of just in and out, tweaking the setups for themselves, because you can see that no one's really set any times yet by the looks of it. And although no, actually on the timer screen I have got times. But I thought that it was basically just kept showing out laps and pit, basically. And that's so I thought that they were literally going out, no, don't like it, in, tweaking a couple of settings, and back out they go again. But they clearly they're having to put in some serious practice here before we get into the qualifying, let alone the blooming race.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the interesting thing you mentioned there as well is these guys are all on the same setup, so they're not allowed to play with it. So they've just got to get on with it, and it's tough bananas. So they have to really just deal with it. Yuri Ismail hanging the tail out there as he comes out of the bus stop chicane. I'll tell you one thing, that is an absolute pig of a corner when you're trying to go around it. Watch Guillaume Hesno come up to it now, flying down the back straight. You're on the brakes so early, and it's so flat, it's hard to see where the apexes are. So you've got big curb on the left, big curb on the right. Get on the power, try and straight line it as best you can. Don't hit the wall, don't slip the rears as you go over the paint. And every single corner around this track is such a challenge. And let's have a look at this final chicane as well, because I'll tell you one thing, trying to get an MX-5 stopped into here is hard enough. Trying to get an Xfinity car stopped into here is literally like, I don't know. Yeah. Look at the curve as well. Oh, it's so exciting, isn't it?
And that's a big curve that throws them back out towards the wall there, isn't it? So that, you know, they need to take it tight there so they don't lose time. But if they take it too heavily, then it's going to just spit them out towards the wall, and there's only ever going to be one winner there.
Definitely, and it's not going to be the car, we can tell you that for free, everybody. As Billy Fletcher finds out, it's the wall coming onto the oval. I just saw another example of it. Oh, there's Alistair Topley with damage as well. What's happened to Alistair here? You can see just the ride height of these cars as well. Look at him trying to light up the rears. It's all over the shop. But he's already lost it going in. Big drift, Tokyo drift it, and then, that's going to be a big hit in the wall for Alistair Topley. Have it.
Sadly, he already had some damage earlier as well, where he came round on, I can't remember which car it was that had lost it in front of him and just caught it before he disappeared back into the pit. So he's had a torrid time in this practice, but hopefully they're just getting it all out of their way. They've clearly got to change. All right, I got it wrong and stupidly said about setup, but they've got to change their mindset, haven't they, for this compared to what they've just been on?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's not just flat out, brake a bit, turn, get back on the power as soon as you can. This is up and down. There's oscillation, there's banking, there's curbs, there's solid walls, there's no runoff area really for most of the lap. They've got to really, really be careful here. So we're going to have qualifying now, and I think the perfect person to go on board with is our race 1 winner from the evening, and the winner of round 2 of the championship, Connor Mills. So this is going to be Connor's qualifying lap, and there is the pit lane. It's straight out onto the circuit. You join the track as it's on the right hand side there, under the Bank of America bridge. Now this is a difficult part of the track as well, because it doesn't look like it's a tight corner, but when you're trying to get a car slowed down around here, for some reason it's just a nightmare. It goes over a crest and gradually down a hill, and the car just wants to pull out to the left and get away from you. Same again here as you go uphill. It just wants to pull away. Nice sun glint there as we go around the corner. And over the crest, you can't even see the next apex. It's just, and again here, you can't see where the wall's going to be on the next apex. It's a horrifying circuit in these cars, isn't it?
Yeah, thank goodness you haven't got to do it at breakneck speed. Oh, wait.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's just,
I'd be about as useful as a chocolate teapot going around here, I think.
Oh, mate, I'd probably just get to the end of the pit lane and bin it.
Yeah.
You see them get on the bank in there, and they're probably thinking, oh, thank God for that. This is where this car belongs. Big bit of curb there for Connor, and another bit, and then don't hit that wall. He's going to try and get the run now, just to make sure that he carries the right speed. Oh, he's slowing it down, though. What's he doing here? Is he actually going to stop and reset? He does. Interesting. Well, we'll look at Jason Glenn then, who did very, very well in race 1 of the night, round 2 of the championship. He's taking it a little bit easy round here at the moment, coming into the bus stop. And that's the thing, you can't risk damaging the car or ruining your tyres on these outlaps, can you?
And talking about tyres, I'm sure it was round here that they were practicing during the week that I was catching wind that they were questioning just how long the tyres actually last around here, which in short, not very long. I don't think.
Yeah, definitely so. It's
well, although saying that, the notes for this is that don't expect people to pit unless there's a mid-race caution. Tyres don't make a huge difference until the 15 to 20 lap mark. Maybe it wasn't this one that they were talking about then, but I just sort of caught wind of the drivers doing their back-to-back banter. Maybe they're psyching each other out, I don't know. Well,
there's a lot of that going on, and it comes back to what we said before, mind games. That's what it's all about. You've got to have a bit of fun with it. Apparently Adrian Burks is in the pit lane. Back out again he goes. And it's going to be a very, very interesting battle of the wits here with these guys, because I think we're going to see some of the guys really go for it and have a lot of confidence, like supreme confidence in the car in the opening laps, and break up the sort of the timing screens a bit, really make a run of it. And then I think we're going to see guys get stuck behind people in the middle that are being very careful because they just want to make it to the end, and that's going to be key here. And I think those two different approaches to it are going to make this a very exciting race. We've had Nicholas Yarrington have an issue. He's gone off track. Is he just going to light up the rears? It's easy to do on that outside. We're going to see a lot of people losing it into here, by the way, as they go on the brakes. Oh, look at that.
Bounce.
Big amount of curb. Keeps it out of the wall, though. Nice job from Nick Yarrington. Car nearly goes around when it gets the grip back. George Tolsman's also just had an issue in the same sort of area. So, I'll tell you one thing, though. Are we going to see... Well, Ben Crean has just gone top at the moment. A lot of curb there on the inside. Monster trucks it. Drifts it on the exit. Beautiful stuff. Are we going to see the same guys at the top here that we usually do? Or are we going to see a bit of a mix of the other guys as Ben gets his Tokyo drift on?
Goodness me.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I would imagine we're still going to have some of the cream rising to the top, but you wonder whether we're going to get a few that are just going to be more suited to this, are going to come in. I mean, interestingly, we heard that Connor Mills was saying that he was looking forward to this one because, of course, when he's racing things in the real world, like the Legends, for example, that I commentated on him in the real world, he is a master at it, so he's used to being, turning both directions in the same race, and he's hoping to really be able to stand out here. But yeah, it's just we don't know about any of the others a little bit further back. I mean, plus we've just seen all of them making tiny little mistakes. It's not about getting yourself into that much of a rhythm here. I don't think you're able to get into a rhythm on this one, really, are you?
No, I definitely agree.
Connor Mills has gone second, by the way.
Yeah, he has gone second, just creeped up there ahead of Aaron Smith. I totally agree. There's no way of getting in a rhythm around here in these cars. They behave so differently over the course of a run. I think that it's just going to be take every lap as it comes, and if you go off, then I'm sorry, but you don't get a second chance, really. You get the fast repair. Connor's lit up the rears there and had an issue. He's taking it easy on this lap now. I think that's his session over. Jonathan Hill has just crossed the line and gone up into 14th position. James Harvey is currently rounding out the top 10 at the moment in the Student Motorsport car. Student Motorsport is always supporting the championship, supporting James. And I hope that he has a better race here, because he had a bit of a nightmare at Indianapolis. Jonathan Hill has just took the car off the track. We had a bit of a blip there from James. But look at the pace these things managed to gain around there. It's so frightening how quickly these cars accelerate. I mean, I never used to know anything about NASCAR. I'd go back 5 years ago. I didn't know anything, and then I started watching it sort of late 2015. And the fact that they've got so much power and they're so noisy and so aggressive, it's just such an animalistic car to watch around a track. And somewhere like this, whoa, don't hit the water barrels, mate. I genuinely winced on my chair then.
Well, and the thing that I love about them as well, I mean, sadly, I should have been this weekend at Brands Hatch, being the lead commentator for American Speed Fest.
Oh, it was this weekend,
Euro
wasn't it?
NASCAR. Yeah, just breaks my heart that I'm not there, because I absolutely adore doing that race meet. And, you know, we have a massive field of the Euro NASCARs. Alex and Ben would have been there for that, of course. I've covered them the last several years. The phrase that gets used is that they're agricultural. You know, there's no
I like that.
WYSIWYGs on it at all. You know, it's no fancy gizmos on it. It really is driver and raw machine.
Yeah, it really is. And oh, there you are. There's Raw Machine being dragged over curb by Jamie Jenkins. Not the smoothest of rides for the number 3. And we've got Adrian Burks, who is one of the last guys out there at the moment. And the thing is, as well, around here, you can't tell whether this is a slow in lap or whether it's a flat-out out lap, because they've got to go so tentative around every corner with these cars. They're not made for like very quick darting left and right and high downforce stuff. They're such slippy machines, and they're very soft in terms of suspension, especially around here as well, because you want it to absorb the curbs. And you'll see it now. I mean, if Adrian gets much of the curbs through the bus stop, you'll see that the front wheels, they don't really drop. They drop straight to the floor again. It's almost like they've disconnected any sort of suspension from it, and they just let the wheels just drag on the ground. It's just absolutely brilliant. He's going to be the last car to do it. We've got Ben Creaner on pole at the moment, though. So Ben is making up for a bit of a rough ride at Indianapolis. That's the name of a film I've seen somewhere in some dodgy shop. But Adrian Burks then crosses the line. He's not put a time in yet, neither has Nick Yarrington, but I think Nick's had an issue and not had a clean lap. No, still no time from Adrian Burks. And I think that is that for his session. It certainly looks like it. He's not... I can't tell, can you?
No. No, it's difficult to know. I mean, certainly that looks to me as though that must have been his outlap if there's no time posted, and he's now trying desperately to get himself as high up the grid. And we've certainly seen in the last 2 oval races that we've had from him is that he is legitimately up there at the pointy end. This is, as we say, a completely different task for him now, a completely different setup on the cars. He's now trying desperately to come flying round to complete this and see what he's going to be able to do. I don't know whether we get to see, we don't really see sectors, do we, for these guys, but he is not posted an actual lap time yet, so this is the last time to see Freeze, how high can you go? It's normally how low can you go, but he's trying desperately to go up that leaderboard, round this tight left, right. Do you know what? I think he's just deliberately making this a nice smooth. He just got one last shot to give it something. Nice smooth effort from him. Hence, it doesn't necessarily look ragged, and sometimes that works.
I won't lie. I think Adrian's slightly.
Now he's gone in the pits.
He might be out of practice slightly around here because he was very overly tentative through some of those corners when he couldn't see the apex. So I think maybe he's not had the chance to put as much practice in for this one, but certainly not gone his way here, and he's going to be 21st, if not 20th, on the grid. Nick Yarrington, the only other driver not to have put a time in. So Ben Creaner, 121.85 at the top of the standings, and George Tolsma, 128.58 in 19th. He is the lowest placed driver that has set a time so far. We'll get some lovely scenic cameras now of the Charlotte Roval. I think some of these guys may just be finishing up. I think some of them are still sat in the pits, actually. If we look at Ben Creaner, they are still just sat in the pits. So the fact that their cars are in the sim like that is basically making the session go to its full length. So thank you, boys. But, wow. This is going to be... I mean, seeing one of these cars go round on its own is pretty focusing. We're going to get 21 of them in just a few moments, and they're all going to be fighting for the same bit of track. I mean, don't know about you, but I'm kind of scared.
Yeah, quite. And, it's one thing to see what they've been able to do in the, in a single lap dash. But once we get underway, then it's a whole different gravy, isn't it?
Really, really is. So it looks like as well. Let me just try and grab a shot of this. Oh, look at this. Beautiful stuff as they all line up like that as well near the start line. That's a gorgeous shot, isn't it? Look at that. They all pull away one by one as well to follow the safety car. That's absolutely brilliant. I'm going to get some very tasty screenshots of that in a little bit. Ben Creaner then, as you can see just behind the overlay on pole position with reigning champion Connor Mills alongside him. We then have the superstar second row as well, Aaron Smith and Alex Sedgwick. Once again, these boys are inseparable. Marcel Freinziner, again, he's doing really well as well. Jason Glenn joins him on row 3. Billy Fletcher and Brian Crowles on row 4. Guillaume Hesno and James Harvey. It's just such a strong top 10. Honestly, if we were on another oval, I wouldn't know who out of that race, who would win the race out of those lot. That's amazing. Mikey Doble is 11th. Alistair Topley is 12th. Behind those guys is Yuri Ishmael in 13th, with Jeff Hooper in 14th, followed by Jonathan Hill and Jamie Jenkins on row 8. And we have Jack Mason, Justin Nair on row 9. And George Tolsma and Adrian Burks round out your top 20, with Nicholas Yarrington propping up the table. And it looks like George Tolsma hasn't taken to the not quite a grid yet. Look at the chrome on Connor Mills' car as well. The lighting in the moment is really, really making these things glow, and it looks absolutely bob on, doesn't it?
I'm just still sort of like, as I'm noting down this grid, thinking, do you know what? Not only is it scary to think what's going to happen, and yes, I agree, by the way, look at that picture. It's cleared the block and it looks amazing, doesn't it? But, there's some drivers further down this field that you still think they're going to come alive at some point, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
I just find it intriguing what's going to happen here.
Adrian Burks is going to start 20th. There he is. You can see the gap just to his left there. That's where George Tolsma should be, but isn't at the moment. Oh, he's just going to pop in now. There he goes. He's going to be next to his teammate, actually, Justin Nair as well, both the Stage 1 racing cars. But Ben Creaner is going to lead the field away in the 38 Toyota Camry, with reigning champion Connor Mills behind him. if he manages to grab a gear. Yes, he does, and look at that. That's a beautiful shot, isn't it, of them all just pulling away gradually. There's little things in sim racing that sometimes they don't translate well from what they do in the real world, but that's a great little moment. I've never seen that before, because I don't have a massive involvement in the oval racing side of things, but I'm a humongous fan of that, because it just looks the part, and it adds that little nice bit of sort of process in that you would have in a real race meeting, doesn't it?
I feel like I'm welling up now, mate. You're getting so emotional.
Well, it's the small things. I mean, a lot of sims, they don't have things like warm-up laps when you're on a standing start grid, because you can't trust people to do it right. But I mean, other sims do sometimes do it, and I mean, I did my first online race in another sim recently that I'm not going to name, but I never even knew that they had warm-up laps. And you have a manual warm-up lap where you start on the grid, you drive around, and you do the whole weaving thing, and you get proper into it, and then you line up in your grid spot, and you have to get it right. And just that little extra bit of immersion really adds something to it. And I think if iRacing did put that in, people wouldn't abuse it and take the mick. They would genuinely do it, because it's such a close sim to real life in terms of how the cars behave and how everything works and how it's regulated. And I think that is one of the little things they're missing, because if they can get a start procedure to look that good in these cars for this race, I think they can do anything like that, don't you?
Absolutely. And I was trying to reach to see if I could get Land of Hope and Glory playing while you were telling us that, mate. Honestly, I'm stood.
Saluting and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks great. Good evening, Student Motorsport. They're messaging. Thank you very much for your comments. Hope you are enjoying it. You can see the passion. We're enjoying ourselves, that's for sure. And I think they are, because James Harvey put it on 10th, hasn't he, this time? So this could be interesting. Guillaume Hesno starting from 9th position. Watch him come through as well. And as you say, Burke's at the back there, out of position. You've got to say, okay, he was struggling, but you still think that he's going to get into this. And it is, 22 laps that we've got for these guys on this circuit. Wow, that's big ask, isn't it?
I couldn't last 0.22, never mind 22 laps. That's just, that's frightening. However, we're going to get a brilliant race out of this, everybody, and I'm sure that you're going to enjoy it. Don't forget as well, by the way, like any videos that you are watching. Do subscribe to the channels which you are on as well. We have a full season of this still to go. This is round 3 of the Vertex Stock Car Cup, and that's one of the best bits, isn't it, Chris? We've got an entire season of this, and I just get so giddy over it. It's great.
Awesome, absolutely awesome, and it just gets more and more exciting, especially as I'm getting more and more used to it and working out who's as we go along, and you're sort of like keeping me sane as we go.
Well, I think we're both just on the edges. Kriener has lit it up before the chicane and got on with it. Connor Mills gets through as well. What a great start from those guys. They just thought, right, we're going to crack on now. So Ben Kriener leads us down to turn 1. Connor Mills second. Cedric Aaron Smith have got a bit of daylight between them. Jason Glenn has got Brian Crowles and Billy Fletcher chasing him down out of turn 1. Let's keep our eye on what the guys are doing. Is everyone behaving themselves? Bit of a gap there towards the back of the field, but it looks like everyone has kept it under control so far, and I tell you what, I won't lie, I wasn't really expecting that.
No, I agree, and it's, there's still, we got these, and Guillaume Hisno looking up the inside there of Harvey, and in fact that means that Harvey's moved up 1 position up into 9th place, so they've do-si-doed their partners there.
Oh, Ishmael.
And switched it back. Oh no, who's that?
Yuri Ishmael's off in the 18.
No.
Not quite
Now,
sure
is
what
that
happened.
Going to be?
Oh, Hesno.
Going again.
Hesno's had an issue. He's got very big damage on that car, and someone else that's losing places is Alistair Topley. And oh no, the 42's in there as well. Jack Mace involved. Let's have a look at what happened to Guillaume Hesno as the camera re-exposes itself. That's something that iRacing's added in as well, automatic camera exposure. So Guillaume goes in. Oh, as he straightens the car up, he hits the wall into Topley. I don't think James Harvey expected him to be down the inside there. And then as the 42 comes in, he tries to avoid Alistair Topley and then hits Jack Mace, but we're not getting a yellow flag for that. Oh, there's even more chaos at the bus stop. What's happened here, boys?
They just need to take a breather, I think, don't they, after the craziness at the previous chicane as they come down into this one. In fact, he's tapped, isn't he, by Ishmael? That's unfortunate. There's nothing he can do about that. And poor old Jack Mace, he's just there at the back and suddenly getting collected by everybody that's off, and that's not what we want to see.
No, definitely not. It's a horrible situation to be in. what's not a horrible situation is to be Ben Kriener right now, leading the way in the 38. He won his first race of the championship's history at Brands Hatch in round 2 last season. But he's got reigning champion Connor Mills behind him. And Connor was saying beforehand, wasn't he, Chris, that he's going to be a specialist around here. And I know that Ben's a very talented driver, but Connor's he's been on a roll and obviously winning the championship. Now he's got a race win, even more confidence. And I tell you what, they're gapping the other guys very, very considerably here already.
They are. I mean, where did... he finished 11th in the first round, though, isn't he? So he's got good to... You almost heard him almost suggest that he's got the monkey off his back by getting that victory. So in the previous race, so he's going to be very happy. A different thing for him to now digest here. And we just got a reminder as well, of course, that any kind of cautions are actually at race director's discretion. So if it's able to recover itself, they'll let it flow, which I've got to say is a fantastic idea. We've also got drive-through penalties in iRacing now as well that could be given if felt appropriate. Race control sat there making sure that everybody toes the line properly. And in fairness, we're looking at Alex Sedgwick in 3rd position there in the number 9 car. He's got himself up a position from where he started. He's ahead of his main rival, his sort of nemesis, dare I say, in the Bumblebee number 70 of Aaron Smith. And not only has he got himself ahead of him, he's pulled away. But the bad news for him is it took a little while. And so actually, Kriener and Mills have cantered off into the distance. Yeah,
he's made good progress on getting away, hasn't he? And
Jason Glenn, he's going to be frustrated, isn't he? Sat there in 9th, right up behind Harvey, so that's 8th and 9th. Bearing in mind that Jason Glenn had a cracking qualifying in 6th place, but I think they're just all sort of getting themselves settled down there. James Harvey's done a great job there, up from 10th on the grid into 8th, and in fact they're not that far behind Billy Fletcher in the 88 car we saw just a bit further down heading into the chicane early. In fact, he's not got a good run through that, so they've closed right up on the 88 car with the orange flashes. And suddenly that's becoming, a 4-car train by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's going to close up very, very quickly, although Jason Glenn's actually lost a lot of ground to Mikey Doble going around there as well. There's a bit of a lock-up in front there, but you can see him really struggling to get the car stopped. Mikey Doble's done great here, actually, because this is his debut in the series tonight, and he didn't have a great showing at Indianapolis, but he's managed to get it all together here, and he's on the pace with these boys, just inside the top 10 now. And let us know, everybody, what you do think of the format. I mean, I'm really enjoying this so far. Having 2 tracks in one night really throws the cat amongst the pigeons and tests these guys' durability and talent levels, doesn't it, Chris?
Absolutely. I mean, it's how we will survive it remains to be seen. Car just glitched then all of a sudden. That's good for Guillaume Hesno. He's managed to jump up ahead. And who is that? That's the 79 car of Jeff Hooper, just kind of glitched out the way and then back in again. And Hesno went, "Thank you very much."
Yeah, freebie.
He kind of deserved it after the wall moment he had earlier, which I've got to say, he's done cracking considering that that big hit. He's in 11th, he started 9th, so he's only lost 2 places overall now after an emergency stop caused by a brick wall.
Yeah, and a very hard brick wall as well. It didn't look like the softest of things to run into. This is Jonathan Hill chasing down Justin Naya at the moment, taking all the curb with them. Justin lights up the rears on exit as well, great to see. They've got Jamie Jenkins not too far ahead of them as well. But our race leader at the moment, 2 of the closest cars on track as well, Ben Kriener. Connor Mills still chasing him. Connor's got a bit of damage to the front right of that car actually, so maybe he's had a bit of an acquaintance with the wall, but whether that affects him or not, I mean, that's a hefty bit of damage as well. He must have really hit it quite hard because it's properly pushed the arch and the bonnet up, so whether it's affected his handling or not, we'll have to see, but he seems to still have the confidence to go chasing Ben though, doesn't he?
He does, and you know, we heard him in the interview after his victory, and he's got the old side-to-side movement going well there, and I thought he was about to have a challenge, but the second phase there just really showed that Ben Kriener was able to carry a bit more momentum through. But yeah, Connor was sounding as if he was hopeful that he could really do well on this Charlotte Roval circuit, with the lefts and the rights, really thinking that it could lend himself to it. But wow, I mean, it just looks so difficult, doesn't it? These big cars, they're big lumps as well, aren't they? There's no sort of like shaving off weight with these things, or if it is, it's like me deciding I'm going to have a grape instead of a muffin. It's still the same size meat. You know, it's
Now, for me, it's
Big
whether
old
I have a
lumps.
grape with the muffin or not.
Yeah, true, exactly.
Thinking, oh,
yeah.
salad on
Cherry
a
on
burger
top.
makes it healthy. Closer down the order, we've got this now. Speaking of burgers, Jonathan Hill is the meat in the Justin Naya and Alistair Topley burger. Whether there's any cheese on that or not, I don't know, but it's yellow. Jason Glenn's in the pit lane. What has happened here? Let's have a look. Mikey Doble's passed him. Has there been an incident?
Naya's in as well. Now the question is just checking to see whether it was a drive-through or whether he's actually going to get anything repaired. He already had that damage on the side though, you know, and he's just dived down. I don't know whether he's been given a penalty or not.
Yeah.
Jason Glenn is showing this pit, so he has stopped.
Interesting.
As
Oh,
he's
we've got
just- no.
Jack Mace has just been off the circuit and back on. I think he's just had an issue with the chicane. So some of these guys really struggling at the moment. We have got guys coming in and out of the pits. Justin Naya in there getting new tyres and fuel. Jason Glenn has had the car repaired. It looks beautiful as he exits, but wow.
It was speaking highly about you as well, mate.
I fancy its mate instead. Alex Sedgwick is in second place here, and behind him, Connor Mills has now lost out to him, and Aaron Smith. Let's have a look how this just happened while we were talking about flirting with race cars. Alex Sedgwick really
Well, that
putting the
means
pressure on
that
Connor.
Connor's already lost the time then, hasn't he? Because he's dropped into the clutches of Sedgwick. So something went wrong before this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's before that it's happened, isn't it? Because he was all over the back of Krina, and then suddenly he's back and he's lost one, he's lost two. Now, you called the damage on the front earlier and wondered whether it caused some damage. So, yeah, sadly, it's well before this, isn't it?
Yeah, not quite sure what's caused that for Connor, but unfortunately he's properly dropped off there. Hopefully he can get it back together. Oh, we've got Jeff Hooper, sorry, is it Jonathan Hill? No, we had someone off the track there for a moment. Oh, Jonathan's had an issue. That's not a car at full capacity. I think, has he maybe hit Alistair Topley? It looked like he was letting him back past there, and Alistair's in front now. So let's put 2 and 2 together and make 7 and see what happens here. Is he going to go late on the brakes? Oh, he is late on the brakes.
He is.
Oh, he just gets a slowdown, actually. Just gets a slowdown and serves
okay.
it.
Yeah, well, and credit where it's due there. That's exactly what the drivers have been told to do. If they go barreling into the chicane and they realise they're not going to make it, go straight on, take the penalty, the slowdown, rather than barreling into other cars. And you've got to compliment Hill there. He did exactly the right thing.
Yeah, definitely. And this is a little moment to really drill home the importance of driver briefings, everyone. If you are doing leagues on iRacing, if you have that connection with your drivers and just let them know of little procedures like that, and everyone knows the drill if something's going wrong, then it really helps keep the racing clean. And it means that there's a lot of mutual respect between all the drivers as well. They know the briefing, they know what they want to do, they don't want to ruin anyone's race by just a simple mistake like that. It's easy to do in these cars around here, and it's good to see that it's in full effect there. So, big fan of that, to be honest. These are the 2 closest cars on track at the moment as Jason Glenn goes down the inside of George Tolsma. George doesn't make it very difficult for him. And
Jason's been in, hasn't he, and had the damage repaired, and it looked like he was up on Jackson and had taken on some new rubber as well, which makes sense because, you know, at some point the tyres will go, oh, Jason Naya got that spun around, but thankfully he was able to get it going again. But you saw the difference there, didn't you, in Glenn, to be fair? He was able to just sit and duck the cars around him at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, Justin's got on the power a bit there. Just kissed the wall a little bit. Reverses it. I would have hoped that he checked his relative there just to make sure there was no one coming, because he used a little bit of the racing service just to chuck it back across. This is Billy Fletcher down the inside of James Harvey, who's actually up to 7th place now. 3 places gained. Nick Yarrington, by the way, 7 places gained so far. Biggest mover in the field up to 14th. And I think by just, well, I was going to say, oh, there you go, there's the commentator's curse. I was going to say by keeping it clean, he's managed to get the places on everyone else, but the car is definitely not clean. He was involved in the incident earlier. But he loses that a little bit there, and Jason Glenn takes advantage and gains another spot on him. But James Harvey and Billy Fletcher are swapping places now.
Yeah, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
And it's Billy that's jumped himself up a position at the moment, so that's up into 7th place, isn't it? 8th for Harvey, but I don't think he's given up on this just yet. The only bad news for them is while these 2 guys are going at it, the the American flag liveried Crowell's car, number 48, that's kind of managed to break away from them quite nicely now, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's nearly 8 seconds ahead of these guys, even with the damage. He's just chasing down Marcel Freinsehner. He's doing a good job of that as well. Alistair Topley pops into the pit lane. And all this time, Ben Kriener is just keeping that lead around the 2-second mark from Alex Sedgwick. That's not for position behind him, that's just in Naya, who's a lap down. But Alex is just there, just outside, or actually just inside and outside, fluctuating around 2 seconds behind.
He's lapping quicker than him, though. He is lapping quicker now, albeit only a couple of tenths. Is that last time round? Is that Alex has now got himself in that clear air, and so he's just sort of gradually reeling him in. He's got to get past the back marker, but hopefully Naya's just going to sort of know that that's a lead car and just let him through. Connor Mills, that car is handling like a dog now, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It's a dog that's in a wet bath. And I tell you what, Marcel Freienzener is looking more and more menacing as he comes around here. Even if he does have anime girls at the side of the car, it's still looking menacing, is that Toyota Camry. And the body language of it as well. It just looks so under control compared to a lot of the others we've been watching. Yeah,
he does, and I did wonder whether we're going to get a few that we're going to do that out here. Is just sort of play it cool, Trip, play it cool, and get used to it. I still wonder, Adrian Birch, for example, he's up to 15th in that red and white 72, who just struggled in the practice and the qualifying, but you could see that he was taking it steady in the early stages. Freienzener is doing the same here, and you just watch him. Not making a lunge. He's going to make the move now because Connor Mills just disappeared. Exit stage left there, didn't he?
What the heck happened to Connor?
Because Krause has gone through as well.
That was a very uncharacteristic move.
Handling awfully, isn't it? It's just going to suddenly disappear while everyone else is turning right. He isn't, basically.
Oh, just that curb unsettled it. Kisses the wall on the other side. And he's back out in 6th place now. He's going to be hating that. The gap at the front, though, has actually got bigger. Ben Kriener's now 2.4 seconds ahead of Alex Sedgwick. He was still actually somehow a little bit slower, like 2/100ths of a second slower than Sedgwick last time round. But I think on this lap, he's definitely made a bit of ground. Let's have a look at the lap times this time round.
Isn't Naya doing well just behind, actually? He's a lapped car, but he's sticking with it.
Yeah, he's keeping the pace, isn't he? Sedgwick 0.2 slower than Kriener last time round. So as we're on to halfway point now, lap 11, Ben is showing everyone what he's done in terms of his previous experience. And it's interesting that we've actually got the 2 Euro NASCAR drivers that do this for real at the front, isn't it?
Yeah, the 2 pros are showing the way for sure, aren't they? Aaron Smith in a very lonely 3rd position at the moment, but it's just as well because behind you've got the great 2-way fight there between the 111 car of Marcel Freienzener and just behind him Brian Krause in the just beautiful livery car with the eagle at the back there. What a shot that is. I mean, it is just incredible, that one. And Brian doing a great job there, really now applying the pressure. I think that he was just taking a watching brief earlier because he knew that Freienzener was closing in on Connor Mills. And I think he was kind of going, well, there's no point both of us trying to have a crack at it at the same time. But now that Mills has checked out behind them...
Ben Kriener's off. Sorry, mate. It's just lit up on my screen that Ben Kriener's gone off. He's had an absolute belter into the bus stop by the look of it. What's happened here? Too much curb spins? Yeah, it does. Oh, that's such a shame. Ben drops it from the lead. How does he recover from it? Sedgwick goes through. There goes Alex. Let's see what happens to Ben. Spins the rears. And around he goes. He'll be absolutely fuming with himself over that one. But what an absolutely race-changing moment.
That is just incredible. Back to 6th place for him now, isn't he? Remember that when he took his debut in Euro NASCAR, was it last year? He was only 16. Racing a Euro NASCAR at 16. What's that all about? It's incredible. So he's still a youngster. He's still learning his trade. He may be the pro in the real world. He shows that he's good, but just loses his focus a little bit on the sim at the moment. Still getting better and better and better as we go. And you know he's always going to be there. He's got the speed to be able to do it. So even though he's dropped to 6th, you can't discount him completely.
No, definitely not. He's got the pace around here. He's been amazing. Jeff Hooper's had an issue. Oh, he brakes. If I'm honest, and more contact as well. If I'm honest, I'm gonna say this live that I think that's on Jeff. That he's in the middle of the racing line, and then he slams on. Jonathan Hill can't really get it slowed down that much, and then again, Jonathan wasn't to know he was going to be coming back across, but Jeff did slam on right in the middle of the road. And
presumably a slowdown penalty, I'm guessing, or he was heading towards the pit. But
yeah, I think he wanted to pit. I mean, there is a filter lane down the inside for just that, and I'm afraid that he's overshot it and missed out, and it's caused the incident in the end. Justin Nair, though, I tell you what, you were saying this before, he's doing a great job at sticking with these front runners, isn't he?
He is. I mean, Alex has got past him now, and he's stepped. Fair play to him there as he stepped out of the way of Aaron Smith. Look how much Aaron Smith has closed in on Alex Sedgwick now. What's gone on there? That's quite incredible, and that was because it was a slow lap last time by Alex. In fairness, actually, if you noticed at lap times, is that the tyres are screaming because someone else has gone off there. That's Burks, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And in fact, it's now showing he's gone to the pit, so I wonder whether he's given up the ghost on that there. But look at the lap times. They were best lap times were 1:22s. They're now in the 25s and 26s. All of them.
Such a big difference, isn't it, when the tyres do start to go off? There are a lot of these guys pitting though, actually, and I'm thinking that they are just trying to get in the clear air, get a bit of fresh rubber so they can properly put the laps in. But Aaron Smith was 0.8 of a second quicker than Alex Sedgwick last time round. We're just going to have a quick look at what happened to Adrian Burks. He's already got a damaged car and he's had a very, very tough evening. Well, in this race anyway, he had a good showing at Indianapolis. The car just isn't behaving itself, and look at the understeer. It's just got nothing. Like I say, I think he might be slightly out of practice around here because he really has struggled to get that car stopped and get it behaving itself. And we know that Adrian's better than that.
He's sent himself back to the pits there, which means he's probably retiring the car, I would suggest there, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not surprised. I mean, he's had a bit of a struggle there. We know that he's better than that as well. Maybe, I mean, we all say as well in sim racing, real life comes first, so fair enough if he's not had the time to practice. But at least he's given it a go, that's the thing. I mean, I've known people in league racing where they just say, oh, I've not practiced, so I'm not going to turn up. That's not the attitude to have, you know. You still give it a go, unless you decide that it might be dangerous to be racing around other people. But then again, you know, Adrian's got the talent to not be a danger to these guys. But I tell you what, this gap at the front...
It's disappearing, isn't it? I said it was, didn't I? It looked like it. You could see it. Aaron's lapping sort of best part of half a second a lap quicker than Alex Sedgwick. So Alex's tyres have fallen off the cliff a bit more than Aaron's at the moment. But, you know, the notes we had was that we probably won't go the pits. I'm not sure that's true, you know. What are we at now? We're sort of not even at half race, not quite at half race distance yet. I think we're going to see a pit stop for new rubber for the whole of the field, I reckon.
We're on 14 and 22 now, though.
Oh yeah, sorry, the blocks got rid of it for a little while for me there. I couldn't see it. Looked like there was less than that. I've got just where my signal's gone a little bit there from you. It's I thought it was less laps than that. So yeah, okay. So
I bet Alex wishes it probably was, or Aaron does anyway. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, just that those lap times, they're, you know, okay, they've got themselves into the 25s now, but yeah, Alex is under growing pressure. Now, in fairness, was he just managing that, sort of not needing to push it any harder, but as soon as he starts seeing the Bumblebee close in on him behind, he's going to have to push it again, and he's going to need to make a decision. But you just saw even the number 70, Aaron Smith, shaking that car under the brakes, didn't he, there? So it's not pretty for any of them. No,
it's a real struggle each lap. I mean, he was 0.3 slower than Alex last time round, so the gap has opened up a tiny bit more, but I mean, you can see on your screen, everybody, it's not a big gap by any stretch of the imagination. James Harvey's got Mikey Doble right behind him. Mikey's having a good debut, to be honest, in the series, in 9th place.
Sorry, in 10th, Graham Hesnow's just put in his personal best lap time.
He has as well, yeah.
1:23.55. So
there you go. There's that down the hill, down the path, sorry, over the curve.
Well, he was flying, he was hurtling, but yeah, sadly that's not worked out at all. I noticed that Topley's out of the race as well. We saw the yellow and blue car number 41 sort of going in and out of the pits, I think, a couple of times, and sadly I think he was involved in other people's incidents, which is a real shame. Is that Creed? No, sorry, it's James Harvey. James Harvey in 8th, but all still, these two can't leave each other alone, can they? Billy Fletcher was just ahead of him. But Mikey Doble, he's got the grandstand seat at the back of those two, hasn't he? So I think the 22 car is ready to have a nibble at Harvey. Yeah,
most certainly. He's really, really doing a good job, though. Like I say, on his debut, I'm not sure what experience he has in these cars, but he certainly knows what he's doing as they go on to NASCAR 3 and 4. James just got a really good run out of there, though, and he's chasing Billy down. Love how dramatic some of these onboard cameras look now with the shake, though, especially on the nose camera as well. You can just see the detail in the road surface and all the curbs and everything. Looks fantastic, but good chase, though, because there's so many different ways that you can attack each corner in these cars, and so many ways that you can just push it a little bit too hard, lose a bit of time, gain a bit of time, do whatever you need to do. And I think that's why we're seeing such a variation in lap time here from everybody, and so many gaps opening and closing so much. I mean, look at this now between Brian Crowles and, wait for it, there's Freinzehner. He's all over him. I say that, he kisses the wall, but he's not lost too much from it. But Freinzehner has come alive here. Last time round, he did a 27.8 actually, and Crowles did a 26.8. So Brian Crowles must have had some sort of issue on this lap. Oh, forgive me. Brian Crowles has overtaken Freinzehner. I was going to say.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, I thought Freinzehner did get up to third, but yeah, sorry everybody, that's my bad completely. Brian just tucks it on the inside and says thank you very much to the Swiss driver.
That was tidy, wasn't it? That was a real tidy line. In fairness to you, mate, even I was there going, I think, but I'm not convinced. And so it was easy to get that wrong. And again, following through in the background. In fact, no, that's recovering. In fact, that's Burks, isn't it? So he sort of ejected himself back to the pits, but he's still going, albeit back in 19th place there at the moment. But that I thought that he was one of the key riders to get involved, but he's not as it stands at the moment.
George Tolsman's had another issue here as he lets Sedgwick go through. We're going to have Aaron Smith around here somewhere soon. Oh, he hits the curb and into the wall just in front of Aaron and Jack Mace. This time he doesn't go in the grandstands as he did in Indianapolis, but yeah, that was a scary moment there for Aaron Smith. Nick Yarrington's just been off the track as well. Let's have a quick look at this. It might only be a small moment. He's got quite a lot of damage on that car though. It looks like it's struggling a bit. He's just going to run a bit wide into here. It's a bit quick. Or just over the crest of the hill. Oh, car only runs a little bit wide though, so not a big issue for him. Through some of the little sponsor hoardings there at the side, but gets away with it and carries on. But Alex Sedgwick, race leader, doing a fine job at the moment. These guys actually swapping around for position. That's Justin Naya going past his teammate George Tolsma. George hanging it around the outside and getting out of the way. But George has been very courteous like that to a lot of these drivers. He's not really putting up too much of a fight with a lot of them. He's about to put up a fight with the wall by the look of it. He manages to back out of that one. That was a scary moment. But back to this though, and it still hasn't gone away. James Harvey is just going to be absolutely fuming with having a mirror full of blue car that is Mikey Doble.
And he's just sent him that little bit deep there, looking too much in his mirror, I think, there as he went into the chicane. He's gone in very, very deep, and he had to wrestle it back, which has enabled Doble, the 22 car, to close right onto the back of him. Now they're going to throw the anchors out the back again. Great driving by the pair of them. Look at that. But just a bit too deep again. Harvey's being bullied into these mistakes brilliantly. Doble goes through. What a great fight there. He's got to return the favour now, I think, because he's seen that, you know, he was able to just be sort of muscled into it. And you've got to assume that Doble on his debut is going to do the same.
Debut Doble. There he is. Yeah. 8th place. He's not going to see James in the rearview mirror, though. It's camouflaged. So it's whether you put the... Oh, he's gone wide, though. I don't know whether the damage means that the camouflage doesn't work. I'll let that up to the viewers to decide. Billy Fletcher is the only car in the field at the moment that actually is where he started, and it's one of my favourite statistics to come out with mid-race when I can't think of anything else to say. The number 88 doing a fine job. He's got Ben Kriener 4.8 seconds ahead and Mikey Doble about 3 seconds behind, so he's just keeping it on the straight and narrow, or the sort of corners and narrow, as this track would have me say. Jeff Hooper has close to the back of Yuri Ishmael. He's having a bit of a blink in and out. He had that before as well. That's a connection-based issue, but doesn't seem to be affecting him too much. But Yuri is continuing as best he can. He's a little bit wide there, lights up the rears. Jeff does the same. This is a battle for 17th and 18th position, but still, as we always say on this, Chris, there's some really good fights no matter where you look in this championship.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the top echelons have kind of settled themselves down a little bit as it stands at the moment, but as you say, just all sorts going on. Although James Harvey and Doble are still glued together, like judging from the timing screens, these guys are back in 17th and 18th, having a cracking time, and you just don't know where to look. But we've also seen that massive send out the inside on the brakes, and Jeff Hooper gets it done. He held it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Nicely done, nicely done. Yes, I mean, just looking, James Harvey is 0.15 behind Doble, so those two are still going great guns, although, what's happened there? Who's gone missing there?
I think he's lost a bit of time. Doble's just cleared him in this first sector. He's just made a big jump. And I think Harvey might have made a mistake or something. Either that or the tyres are already going.
Yeah, because literally I had a look and the gap was 0.15, and so they were still close together. But yeah, all of a sudden it's dropped down. It looks like now he's just having a bit of a fight to get that car slowed down for the tight wiggly bits at the moment. We'll see him coming down to 1 now. Are we going to see him just run a little bit deep in here again? Let's have a look.
Looks okay, tentative, doesn't it? Yeah,
well,
definitely tentative.
Very tentative, wasn't it? You know, but he has kept that tidy. But I think that's because the last couple, he knows that he's just wrestling that thing to keep it in any kind of straight line when he's throwing the anchors out the back.
Yeah, for sure. And Jeff Hooper's had an issue after saying how well he did with that send earlier. That's gone around. Now I'm wondering whether he's hit that inside wall on the right, or whether it's just run out wide. I've seen a lot of people hit that inside wall. Always having another bit of a blip there. Oh, he's gone in hot there, hasn't he? Oh, no. Keep it out of the wall.
I reckon the glitch probably threw him there, unfortunately, didn't it? He suddenly was further along the circuit than he last remembered.
maybe so. It's not easy to get the car slowed down around there, and it's one of those corners that you're already turning, and if you've realised you're going in a bit too hot, there's not really much you can do about it at that point. There's your race leader, Alex Sedgwick, for Vertex Esports in the number 9. And there is Aaron Smith in second place, trying to chase him down sideways and all over the curbs, launching it around. Here's Brian Crowell's in third place. And he then has Marcel Freinzehner behind him in fourth. And then Connor Mills just coming into the bus stop chicane now with that very, very battered Revolution satellite racing machine. But he's making it work though, isn't he? He's really pushing it around this track.
He is, because when you consider how long that's been, that thing has been, I think I used the phrase, handing like a dog, and you could see it, is that he went from just dominating all bar, I think that, was he in second when he went out, or was he in the lead? I think he was running in second. Because Kriener was in the lead. Connor Mills was running in second, but those two were the absolute class. We saw Kriener have the one mistake, and Connor, we didn't really see what happened to him, did we? But it suddenly all changed for him, and it's not handled well ever since. Yeah,
it just shows you how one little mistake, if you push it too hard in a corner, can ruin your race, essentially. I mean, he's still in 5th place, yeah, but he was doing so well in second. Same with Ben. You know, Ben really tried to push it into the chicane. He's still pushing now, hanging the back end out. But it's all fallen into place once again for Alex Sedgwick, and he just seems to be that consistent guy. And it just shows you the mindset of going into a race and thinking when you're going to go for a move, when you're going to just try and push the car. As around Jonathan Hill, no. I didn't think he was going to clear him then, but Jonathan backed out a little bit more into the bus stop. And he's only got one more lap to go here, actually, Chris. It's flown by this race.
It genuinely really has, hasn't it? And good use of race director's discretion on the caution, because we could have easily had a couple early on if it was automatic, which I think would have been wrong, because they recovered the situation well and quickly. So Alex is getting close to that wall, and he receives the white flag, ready to just do one more tour of this Charlotte Roval circuit. And there is your top 4. So Freinzehner sat there in the 111 car in 4th place. He's not putting up a fight. We saw him up close to the likes of Crowell's, and I think he's just sort of thought, do you know what, I need to play it sensible and actually get this finished rather than trying to go too banzai. As we've seen a couple of the others, is that this one bites.
Yeah, definitely. And he's been a very consistent driver since I saw him join the championship. He's just been constantly scoring top 5s, top 10s, getting points and points and points. And that's what you need to do in these series. And Connor Mills showed that last season. He won the championship without a race win. Oh no, James Harvey and Guillaume Hesno have come to strive here. What's happened here, boys? James Harvey it sounded like he was going slow there. I think he's had some sort of issue. Hesno goes deep on the brakes. Bit of a tap into turn 1. Oh, and as James gets it turned around, I think Guillaume waits for him. That's fair enough. Although he thinks, now actually, you can't have it. No, go on, go past. Go on, let him go. Yep, he's going to do it. As we look, though, it's going to be the final corner for Alex Sedgwick, who is going to come through to take another win in the Vertex Stock Car Corp. It's been a very controlled drive from him. Onto the brakes once more, gets the car slowed down, plays it nice and safe through the chicane. And round 3 of the championship goes to Alex Sedgwick. He drifts it across the line. Beautiful work. Aaron Smith, more points in second place. And Brian Crowell gets a podium. He needs that after he's had a bit of a tough season so far. Freinzehner, more points. We've got fireworks apparently in the daytime. Connor Mills is in 5th place. In this one, I can hear the fireworks going off. Guillaume Hesno and James Harvey still fighting to the death, though. Let's keep our eye on this. James is going to try and get the cutback. Who's going to do it? Is he going to make the move work? I think they actually did repass each other after the incident. They've got Jason Glenn waiting to take this as well. It's going to be down to the final chicane. We've seen a lot of sends here in the past. Oh, make sure you're still sat down, everybody. Don't get your clap emojis out yet. James looks to the inside. He's late on the brakes. He's going to lock it up. He's gone straight on. Oh, no. And Jason Glenn, he's going to surely come through and take it. James lights it up, spins the car across the line. Oh, what a finish by those guys. But fair play to the showmanship of James Harvey there. Real shame that he didn't grab it.
I bet he's laughing on his mic there, and that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Is they've got to enjoy it as well. I mean, he did manage to bring that home in 11th, but wow. I mean, he had to go for it, didn't he? He only lost the one place by going for it. He could have gained one, so absolutely brilliant work.
Yeah, definitely. It was just one of those moments where you have to chuck it up the inside. You have to go for the move. And unfortunately, just trying to add that little bit more brake pressure on, just locked it up and didn't quite get the car in there. Yuri Ishmael is going to be the last car to cross the line here. And there he goes. But your race winner, round 3 of the championship, goes to Alex Sedgwick, and a very, very deserving drive from him. Aaron Smith, more points in his championship in second place. And he's going to be over the moon with that because he's had a really strong start to his season. And hopefully he can continue that all the way through. Brian Crowles finishes in 3rd, with Marcel Freinzehner in 4th place. Connor Mills in 5th, thinking what could have been, and the same goes for Ben Kriener as well. He was leading so well at the beginning, but eventually it didn't quite go right for him. Billy Fletcher, a consistent 7th place, just behind his teammate. Mikey Doble, great debut tonight, finishing in 8th position there, with Guillaume Hesno 9th, and Jason Glenn rounding out your top 10. James Harvey did get a penalty for cutting the circuit there, and finishes 11th. And then the cars that are 1 lap down or more: Jonathan Hill, Nick Yarrington, Justin Nair, Jack Mace, George Tolsma and Yuri Ishmael were 1 lap down. Then we've got Jeff Hooper 2 laps down. Same with Adrian Burks. And Alistair Topley, unfortunately, 14 laps down, with Jamie Jakins 16 laps down from the rest of the field. We'll see in the background, burnouts all day for Alex Sedgwick. Burnout all the way into his pit box as well. Quite a classy performance there from Alex. And another race win for him. You can see Billy Fletcher also doing burnouts down the pit lane here as well. And that's the thing with these cars. You have to have a laugh with them, don't you, with the amount of power they've got.
Well, they do put on the show. I mean, I'm sure you're enjoying the sound of them doing that as well. But
we'll go on board as well just to rub it in.
Yeah, thanks, mate. You've got to, and it goes to show that they've had a great time out there putting on the show for everyone. It has been, absolutely brilliant to watch yet again. Both of them, 2 very different races to go back to back for, and just pure entertainment yet again.
Definitely, certainly was, and it's been a joy to commentate on it again with you, Chris. It's a lot of fun, and I think we get a good reception from it. Thank you everybody that does chuck the comments in, by the way, as well. We're very grateful for it. The first driver that's actually come up for an interview is not actually one of our race winners tonight, but he'll feel like a winner after grabbing a podium for it. Brian Crowles joins us in the box. Brian, that was, well, a bit of a mixed evening from all accounts. How did you find it overall?
Well, I mean, it didn't turn out partly as I was expecting, if I'm honest. I had the pace in practice, but that doesn't mean anything, as we've learned, obviously. Yeah, and Indy, it went a bit sour with the tires going away faster than I was anticipating. I got it back to a top 10, and then here, I kind of messed up qualifying for myself, so I had to start a bit further in the rear, but got it back to a podium, so I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's been a bit of a tough start to the season for you, but having a podium again, it's nice to grab a lot of points for it, and being able to say that you've got a podium as well. It's extra bragging rights, isn't it?
Definitely is. Yeah, no, I mean, everyone seems to be stronger. Like Aaron was pretty strong all season last season, but he's now in the front and he's staying in front, for example. And everyone seems to have much more pace than they had last season.
Yeah, we were saying that before, that Aaron has sort of come alive after the Eldora truck challenge that we did. It's like he's just sort of got a new livery and he's completely reinvigorated. And the same with your teammate as well, Jason Glenn. I mean, he's been flying, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, he has. He has really been flying. I mean, I'm glad for him that he can fly like that, and then obviously with our colors on it, it's even better, right? But no, I mean, I'm glad for him. He was fast all season, but he needed those little tweaks, because in Zolder we've been practicing together a lot before he got into our team, and I gave him some pointers around that track, and then he just came alive. So we're working on it. We're there every week, so let's just hope we can get a win this season then.
Well, we really hope you do, because it'd be great to see it up there. I think the YouTube chat would absolutely erupt if you got a win as well, because no matter where you go, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube, you seem to take your fan club with you, and you've got a lot of people that enjoy watching your race. So I really do hope for their sake as well, you can bring the win home for them. Obviously, we've got a very packed season with road courses and ovals once again. Is there a preference that you have between the two, or is it just is it very track dependent rather than sort of track type?
I really don't have that much of a preference. It seems that I'm better suited on the ragging these big boats around a road course than around an oval apparently. But I mean, I don't really have a preference. A good race is a good race. That's all I need.
Well, we've just watched you hit the wall in slow motion while you said that as well. So
yeah.
Perfect timing, really. Just before we let you go tonight there, Brian, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to on stream, buddy?
Yes, sir. I'd like to shout out to my fans, obviously, for still being here season 2 and then joining me in the Belcar series thing that we're doing as well, for always being there. Brax Racing for giving me opportunities. I do. EVP for letting us for sponsoring us this season as well, and yeah, and then Alex and you guys obviously for putting this all together and putting on a great show for everyone.
Thank you very much, mate. Well, great to speak to you as always, Brian, and I'm sure we'll speak again very soon, buddy. But well done tonight.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, guys.
Cheers. Brian Crowell's there of the Brax Racing team. He's been racing with the Revolution Satellite Racing boys as well, I believe, this evening. Who should we grab next, Chris? Let's have a look. We've got a couple of guys waiting in there, haven't we?
Yeah, you wonder anybody that's going to have, rather pleased, I think is probably the best thing to do, rather than anybody that's frustrated after that one.
Yeah, so let's bring in Ben Kriener then. Ben, that was it was going so well, mate. What happened?
Twitch decided that it was going to spring itself into life halfway through the race, so my screen went black on the braking. Yes, so everything Twitch has just been deleted off this computer for good. So stop that happening again.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, it was going so well; it was all under control. You had Connor Mills pressurising you, but obviously he made a mistake before you did. How did it feel having him pressurising you? Did you sort of stay calm and just keep your head forward, or were you sort of just watching for his moves behind you?
I mean, I was looking after my tyres, to be honest with you, mate, and actually part of the plan was to try and back Connor into the guys behind, and then when they started battling, run away, which is exactly what happened. So that was actually quite good for me, because I've tried to pull that one off, and I did, and that one went really well. So, yeah, so that was all about tyre wear, that race, because obviously a lot of cars were really struggling, myself included, as was the race at Indy, actually. But yeah, it was just all about keeping the car smooth and keeping it clean, and that's what we were doing. But unfortunately, I'm shooting at other ideas, that one, which is a shame, but there we go.
Yeah, it's typical technology for you, isn't it?
Oh, aye. Absolutely.
Any questions from you, Chris?
Well, I was going to say as well, Ben, is that where you had that moment, that sadly it wasn't just a wild moment, it looked like it involved a bit of contact, and it looked as though the handling never really returned to where you had it after that moment either.
Yeah, after that point, I just sort of, in all honesty, I realised that the gap was too big to try and do anything, so at that point I was just right, bring it home where we was. I think it was 6 in the end. So at that point, it was just, right, let's just get this car over the line and we'll forget about this one for sure. So we were struggling a wee bit with oversteer, especially at Indy as well. I mean, after trying to recover back through, when I realised that I wasn't going to get the cars in front, I just started having fun with it, you know. So and it was the same again really there, because these cars are very nice to drive, they're very rewarding. So you can really get away with just sliding them about a bit. So that's what I was doing. I was just trying to cheer myself up, having a wee bit of fun, and just making sure I brought it home.
Well, we enjoyed that too.
Oh God, yeah, we certainly did. I mean, I know you, Ben. I know how much you like to sort of drift a car. I mean, the amount of time we spent at Autosport chucking that Radical around Donington Park would have made anybody sick with the amount of time you had it sideways. But especially in these things, it was exciting to watch. But as the season goes ahead, though, how are you feeling for the next rounds coming up? Is there any sort of different approach you're going to take, or are you just going to try and keep things going as they are?
I mean, if we can keep it on the road, we can get some results. So I think we've just got to try and keep our fingers crossed for some better luck, in all honesty, Because we've had, it was the same last season, we were always there or thereabout, and we were always capitalising when others maybe made mistakes. And unfortunately, this season, it's been a lot of other drivers capitalising when it's gone wrong for me. So, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. We're coming, we're prepared, everything is as it should be, and everything's set up. I'm very, very happy going into each race that I know that if I can keep it together, I can get a good result out of the car. My qualifying at the last couple of ovals has been a bit questionable, but I've sort of given myself a job to do in that instance. But I always knew, because it is with the official racing, Charlotte's a happy hunting ground for me, so I was really excited when that hit the calendar. So, it's a shame I couldn't get a result which was clearly there and there to be taken. But for the next rounds, I think the mindset just is exactly the same, and we just got to get our head down and get on with it.
Yeah, definitely, and fingers crossed that we'll see you get that in future. But for now, mate, is there anybody that you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
The usual, mate. Luxon24, you guys as well, and obviously tonight we were running that paint as well, just to try and hope, in hindsight, that's not going to make a massive impact, but if at least some people will see that, and hopefully that I'll maybe change their mind on a few things, because what's happening recently is really just, it shouldn't be taking place at all. So we're really just trying to help those guys out. Well, I say help not, we're really trying to raise awareness of the situation, because it's really, it's 2020, it's pretty appalling, and this is how we're going through. But in terms of thanking you guys, you guys put on a great show. Everything is run as a professional series, so considering this is only your second season doing it, I think you guys have absolutely nailed it. So, and it's good because I keep looking forward to these races, and it's always exciting coming back. So just keep doing what you're doing, guys. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you very much, mate. Well, very well said, and we will hopefully speak to you soon.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, mate.
Ben Creaner, there. Always a good character to speak to, isn't he, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely, and a lot of racing years ahead of him as well in this and in the real world, and with a very socially aware head on his shoulders as well. That we echo the sentiments as well. So thank you for saying that, Ben. But he's only going to get better, and you could hear it in himself that he knew that he's just made these little mistakes. It's interesting to hear that it was sadly a technical glitch that happened at the worst possible moment, and I think sort of playing in my mind where he did just suddenly go deep into that, it kind of makes sense, because it did look out of shape for what he'd been doing so far on this circuit. Yeah,
definitely. You could see that something was definitely not right on the way into the corner. Fingers crossed, though. He says he's deleted all the software, so we won't see that again. I just want to round out the evening by bringing in two drivers that we did say tonight were completely inseparable. We've got Aaron Smith and Alex Sedgwick in the booth. You boys just can't leave each other alone this season, can you?
No, we've done quite well at running 1-2 for the most part so far. However, it's taken us this long to finish 1-2. There always seems to be something that happens, but no, I mean it's been good. Obviously, we were pushing quite hard, working quite hard. From my side, especially working quite hard to get back past Aaron at Indy earlier, and he was very, very quick on the Roval, sorry, as well. I think I was pushing quite hard to stop him catching me, and then just had enough in the end. But no, it's been fun.
What did you make of Indianapolis, by the way, Aaron? It looked like a very, very feisty race between the two of you.
Yeah, we were having a really good race until that last caution came out with about 3 or so to go, and just a series of unfortunate events happened from there, and finished 8th because of it. But it was a pretty good race in terms of confidence and stuff like that. Just having Alex right next to me for the whole race is it's pretty good.
Well, I must admit, I did have you down as my pick on the stream for taking the win in the end. So I think commentator's curse may have come in. So I owe you a beer at least. But the pace has really come alive this season. I mean, you were always up there last season, but I mean, even Ben was saying before as well. Actually, so I think it was Brian was saying that it's like you've just sort of come on another level. Is it the livery? Have you done like you had a haircut or something? What's changed?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. My equipment's still pretty bad, but sitting around 30 FPS in every race. But now that we've got some new stuff on the car, I'd say it adds a little bit more extra confidence there. But yeah, I've been practicing just a little bit more this season, and it's worked out.
Yeah, it certainly has.
No. Stickers make you go fast.
Yeah, every sticker's 5 brake horsepower. But it's great to watch you guys fighting. I mean, I know Chris as well. You've been absolutely loving it, haven't you? The sort of the bromance on track between these guys.
It is, and what I love, especially on the ovals, is that these two are the class of the field of the restarts, really, and you guys just must be on tenterhooks whenever a caution's out and you guys are running side by side. You're both as good as each other.
Yeah, to hear that being compared to a NASCAR driver like that, with my only racing medium being the sim racing, stuff like that, it's a really good feeling. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we race each other hard, but touch wood, so far there's been no contacts. We've not really got into each other, and Aaron never seems to make a mistake, so it's worked to get past, and it's good fun because obviously it means that you have to push that bit harder, you have to think that bit more about what you're doing, and also it's not a case of just sit and wait until his tyres wear or anything like that. You have to be that like 110% the whole time. So no, really, really good fun. It would have been if we didn't have the caution at Indy, it would have been interesting to see what happened for those last couple laps.
Yeah, I was wheeling it, trying to keep the back end off the wall. And, I didn't think my tires were going to last as long as they did on that run, but we almost.
And what made you, Aaron, make it? Was it you or Alex that kind of forced the pit stop there? Because it looked like a game of poker coming down towards pit in, and then you all went for it, and everyone else followed.
Yeah, I'd planned to pit from the start. After about 15 or so laps, we were about 10 miles down on Apex, so we didn't really have much of a choice. But then we had those 4 or 5 guys stay out, and the rest is.
It was. Were you tempted, Alex, once you saw Aaron head in, were you tempted to sort of stay out?
Absolutely not. Same as Aaron. I always plan to pit, but obviously you wanna try and play some games and make people question their decision before you go in. Because you saw at the last couple laps, obviously Connor managed to hold on, but especially having 4 old tyres, it was a huge difference. Connor with the 2, it was right in the middle, but yeah, I think you had to take those tyres, but then of course it was a gamble of how many people stay out, because if you start P15, you're quicker, but you've got a lot of cars to pass in 2 laps. But it worked out semi okay, but I'm still 0 for 0 on ovals, so I've gone like the complete opposite way to season 1 so far, so I need to work out what's going on there.
Well, I hope you can, because it'll I'm sure that Aaron would like to have a good fight with you as well. Just before we let you go though, boys, let's start with you, Alex. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, mate?
As ever, you two, Rob and Mike, our race directors, Adam at Vertex, as ever, you're all doing a brilliant job to help put it all together. We're obviously in the 2nd season, and we've got a really, really good grid, and it's, from my point, it's really entertaining racing. So let's keep it going. More of the same to come for the rest of the season.
I just need better internet, but yeah, thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. Aaron, any words from you, mate, before you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Alex and everyone else at Vertex for putting this stuff on, and y'all for broadcasting, and everyone for watching.
Well said. Thank you very much, guys. Well done tonight, and we'll most probably speak to you next time round.
Yeah, I hope so.
Aaron Smith and Alex Sedgwick there. 2 of the quickest guys in the series at the moment, and like we said, Chris, it is a bit of a bromance on track, but there's such fierce racing between the pair of them, isn't there?
But good racing, you heard them touch on it there, is the thing that has really impressed me about those 2 much is that time and time again, we've seen them trading blows at the pointy end of the field, but always just giving each other the right amount of room. And as well as respecting the other side, is that you almost get the feeling that they know that the other one is going to race hard but fair, and they're kind of able to read each other a little bit, and it's just been amazing to watch. I mean, the lap after lap of the Indianapolis, it was a shame that they got split apart really on the restart, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that one, because like you say, when you can sort of judge what the other guy's going to do, when you've been racing around someone for a bit, it really does install a lot of confidence in you. I mean, there's people I've raced against on iRacing in multiple leagues, in GT cars, touring cars, open wheel stuff, and if you no matter what it is, you can like come across the same driver in any type of car. You just know how they're going to behave and like what their mindset's going to be. And we do see really good results from that anyway. And like you say, it is amazing to see. Don't forget, everybody, we are going to be back in just a week's time again, and we're going to have another round of the Vertex Stock Car Cup. Myself and Chris will be in the booth, and we cannot wait to bring you the action. We have a very, very interesting one for this time, where we go back to Zolder, where we saw the best race of Season 1, and, well, it's a very narrow and twisty circuit like we've seen tonight, Chris, but even then, it's still on a whole nother level to the Charlotte Roval, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be intriguing, and obviously I wasn't around when they did it last time, but I've heard the almost fables of that round, so I'm looking forward to this.
Should be great. Well, thank you very much as always, mate. Great to commentate with you as
Thanks,
always.
buddy.
And thank you everybody for watching tonight. It's been another 2 brilliant rounds of the championship. We hope you enjoyed the format. We do have another double header coming up later on in the season, so be sure to join us next week for Zolder, and we'll see you next time round. Cheers.